Donald Trump is getting a rude awakening in Michigan after going to Michigan to, I don't know, celebrate 100 days, the most disastrous days ever in the first 100 days of a presidency. We're getting new polling data out of Michigan, and Donald Trump's poll numbers there are crashing. A recent poll out of Michigan is showing 56% of Michigan voters disapprove of Trump's performance after his first 100 days of his second term. Only 17% say it's pretty good. Only 24% of people say that it is excellent, but by far more people are viewing this as negative to catastrophic. Also, when you dig into the numbers here, Donald Trump is negative on every single issue. The only issue, though, where he, I guess, is, basically at a baseline even is, I suppose, his main issue, immigration, for which 48% of respondents in Michigan gave him a positive rating and 48% gave him a negative rating, with still 4% undecided. And the pollster here says that it's clear from the data that he's beginning to suffer from his own base, from the own MAGA supporters, which is interesting because he's usually able to still hold that kind of MAGA crew. Of course, Michigan is a pivotal swing state, and unfortunately it went for Trump in the 2024 election. Let me just show you the scene outside of that Trump rally, or whatever the heck you want to call it, where he was there for his 100 days. It seemed like there were more protesters and more than even people who were actually at this event. But here was the scene outside of the event. Let's play it. One of the things too in Michigan that I've noticed also is that Trumpism, that just kind of cruelty and meanness, unfortunately seeps into that Republican Party there. Their Speaker of the House, a guy named Matt Hall, just the insults that he uses. I mean, the way he refers to another state representative, Meiselas, and I'll just play it for you because they just use the Trump immature bullying, and this should be nowhere, not in Michigan. We should just act like adults and be professional and carry ourselves with dignity and act responsibly. But just watch. This is Michigan's Republican Speaker of the House. They all do like Trump routines now. Let's play it.
I think everybody saw yesterday, and we have this very low IQ representative named Meiselas, probably one of the dumbest ones in the legislature. And I saw this video of her, and she's like, "The House Speaker is not here today. We need to have session. We need to work for the people of Michigan, Macomb County." Well, where was I?
Let's bring in Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson to talk about this all. You're out with the new book also, The Purposeful Warrior, Standing Up for What's Right When the Stakes Are High. You're also a candidate for governor in the state of Michigan, so you're a pretty busy person right now. Let's first talk about Donald Trump's poll numbers there. But less about the poll numbers. What are you seeing? You know the state better than just about anybody. What are you seeing, Secretary?
Everywhere I go in Michigan, it's clear that these reckless tariffs and the confusing economic policies of this administration have only driven up the cost of living in the state and made things more uncertain for so many people. I was in Saginaw speaking with some local merchants, small business owners, and they said, look, I don't know where our shipment's coming from, if we're going to get any more inventory, if I can afford to make payroll, we may need to shut down. Stories like that are affecting people all across their state. Our farmers are, wondering how they're going to ensure that they can meet their financial goals for the year. And then, of course, we have that's not even touching the confusion and concerns around Medicaid that 2.5 million Michigan citizens rely on. So it's a consistent feeling of anxiety, of confusion, of even among folks who supported President Trump because he told them that he would lower the cost of living, and now they're only seeing costs go up. So it's a lot of frustration, anger, fear, and nervousness that I think and I believe the next governor can work to alleviate through policies that can address the economic well-being of our people. But at the same time, undoubtedly, these poll numbers don't surprise me because people are feeling the pain and the struggles that people have been going through in Michigan for a number of years have only exacerbated under this administration.
Then he shows up in Michigan. He gives that speech in Warren. He praises the January 6th insurrectionists again. He then talks about one of his accomplishments. He talks about, we've opened up toilet bowls. I'm the toilet bowl president. Here, I'll just show it to you because every time I see it, I'm just like, what? I'm like, come on, like this is just not normal stuff. Like, wake up, people here. Just watch this.
I need everything I can get. I don't need to be under a shower trying to get water to come out of that damn thing. So we've opened up the shower heads, the faucets, the toilets, the washing machines that don't give you water. All of that stuff has been opened up, and we're giving.
Yeah, I mean, when people are feeling pain, and we know that people in Michigan are feeling lots of pain, then he goes in and does that. I just go, this goes with your book. I just go, that's not right. Let's not talk about politics. I just go, that's not right. Like, don't we have to go back fundamentally to right, wrong, purpose, non-purpose?
Yeah, and bullies don't get to define who we are, right? No matter all the rhetoric, all the challenges, all the noise, the chaos, the cruelty, that does not have to define who we are. And we have a choice as citizens every day to wake up and say, that's not me. I will show myself, my community, our leaders, what leadership really looks like. And I think we don't hear enough people, frankly, these days saying that's not right. Republicans, Democrats, and everyone in between should be screaming this from the rooftops. So much of what we're seeing now from the bullying that you just showed from Matt Hall, which was atrocious and unacceptable from any public official, and to all of the confusing things that come out of the president's mouth, that's not right. And essentially, that's what I did in 2020 and beyond, right? I stood up and I said, you can't take the votes of our citizens away. You can't challenge our fair, accurate election results. That's not right. And some of my book is about how bullies punch back. Like, there are consequences to standing up for what's right when the stakes are high. But at the same time, that does not mean that we sit down. It means that we build a plan strategically to prepare for that punch when it comes. But that should not deter us from standing up for what's right.
How big of an issue is Donald Trump's insulting of Canada on the economy of Michigan, and how big of an impact are you seeing there? I mean, it's not just the tariffs, right? When Donald Trump uses language of annexation, all of our Canadian supporters who call themselves the Maple Midas, they go, Ben, that's war language. He's speaking the way Vladimir Putin speaks to Ukraine, which leads to invasion. So we don't take it as funny. We don't take it as a joke. And we're not traveling to these states anymore. And, I've seen people in Michigan, go out and protest against Trump, showing Canadian flags to show solidarity. And then I saw the other one in Windsor, and people, so it was great to see that at its core, Americans recognize what important allies Canadians are. But what do you see there?
Yeah, I mean, the economic impact of this rhetoric, of this fist pumping, chest thumping noise that is coming out of the White House, the economic impact of that in Michigan is real because we are a state with several border crossings into Canada. It affects our auto industry. It affects our healthcare industry. It affects our energy and our ability to ensure that electricity is getting where it needs to be. Our partnership as a state with Canada, a neighboring country to the north that we have that can give us many ideas that we can actually learn from to improve the economic well-being and healthcare of our residents, instead of looking to our friend to the north and finding ways to work together so that we can all thrive. We are now having to deal with this rhetoric that is taking us in the opposite direction. I think the states bordering Canada in the Midwest, like Michigan, like Pennsylvania, like Wisconsin, like Minnesota, the governors of those states can work together. And this is something that I would work on as well as governor of Michigan to try to balance this rhetoric and rebuild that relationship, because it does impact all of our states directly. But in this moment, the economic impact and challenges of this trade war are being felt in the pocketbooks of every resident of the state.
And before we go, talk about the book, The Purposeful Warrior. I mean, we talked about it, a little bit before there, but the idea of being purposeful, the idea of right and wrong, as you said, the decisions that you had to make in 2020 of this isn't even about this political party or that party. You don't steal elections. You don't try to overthrow free and fair elections. And what's really, impacted me so much, as I am seeing, though, even Trump appointed judges who are ruling against him on certain issues about, due process. But then I see Donald Trump inviting the head of the Proud Boys to Mar-a-Lago this past weekend. They were partying together. Enrique Tarrio, Donald Trump, partying at Mar-a-Lago together. And then I think of the Trump appointed judge who sentenced Enrique Tarrio to 22 years. And speak to that if you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really harrowing moment for our country. And what the book is really about, it started by my effort to talk about what it was like to stand up to the president and his supporters in the aftermath of the 2020 presidential election. There were consequences. It was not easy, but it was the right thing to do because at the end of the day, we are a democracy and we stand by the will of the voters, no matter who wins. And at the same time, now, as we see these economic policies wreaking havoc on our state and elsewhere, I believe, and I'm reminded by the quote, I think, with President Clinton, who said, "There's nothing that's wrong with this country that cannot be solved by what's right about this country. And what's best about this country is our people, are the American citizens." So this book is a call to action for all of us to be warriors for ourselves, for the truth, for the rule of law, for our Constitution, for our communities, for our loved ones, for our economy. And history teaches us if we all collectively work as warriors, showing grace, empathy, strategy, focus. It's not just about fighting. It's doing it in a way that gets things done and moves the needle and wins elections and the like. If we do that, we can get through this moment and emerge with a healthier and stronger country than ever before. That's what I'm fighting for. And at the end of my book, not to give anything away, what I define is that vision and say, this is what we can build together. So let's go. Join me.
The Purposeful Warrior, Jocelyn Benson, Michigan Secretary of State. Good luck on your candidacy for governor. We'll be following it, and we hope to have you back to talk more about that as well.
Thanks. And go to jocelynbenson.com if you want to find out more about me, my work, and my next steps. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Let's go.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.